Support Pro Play Games on Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Yadam here with Team PPG doing a deck profile, the first deck profile for BT7's Digimon card game. Now, I wanted to prolong this video for a little bit because I wanted to get a little bit more understanding of the meta, get a couple games in, so I'm not giving you guys content without really understanding what I'm saying. And I know it's taken a little bit, a couple people have brought out videos, but I'm pretty confident what I'm going to say, and pretty confident with the deck so far and my choices. So let's get right to it. Alright. Perfect. So here we have what I believe is the core for a yellow deck. Now, as you can see, the fact that I'm calling it a core is that I believe you don't have to go full yellow. You don't have to really commit yourself to any specific color, as yellow is just so strong by itself with hybrids specifically. So thanks to BT7, we have access to all these fantastic cards, and we have access to the great power that just yellow hybrids have in general. I'll show you what I've decided to do with the deck so far, but obviously these numbers are subject to change. Is what I believe would constitute a yellow engine and could be splashed in a bunch of different ways. So first off, we have Bokomon. Bokomon is I didn't think he was that good, but after playing him, seeing the fact that he makes your hybrids free, it really just made me believe that he was an amazing card. Right, over time, he does get the value that he needs, and oftentimes, even though people are deleting him with one way or another, they're still using their resources to get around this card, and now with the other cards. Then we have what I consider, again, the hybrid core for the Tamers. 2 TKs, 4 of the TK and Karis, as well as 4 of the Zoes. So why 2 TK? Now, the reason I chose 2 TK for the core is because I think that if you want to go more leaning into one color over the next, you can add more TKs, or you can add another memory tamer if you so choose to, but definitely, like, you have all those options to yourself. Always remember that TK only recovers if it's a yellow card that you grab and that he's mandatory. If he's ever hit off security and he's the second to last security and you hit something that's not yellow, you're basically lost 1 life and you're most likely dead. The chance of that happening, super duper slim, but we'll keep it at 2. If you guys think it's necessary, you can bump them up to 3 or 4 or whatnot. I think 2 is a very solid ratio. TK and Kari, completely underrated. If your opponent is trying to play around it and not hitting you, that's great. You're not dying. You have more time. You have more time. You win. That's what this deck does. Also, if you want to proc your TK and Kari, you can use the TK in an offensive manner, reducing your own life, not recovering by grabbing something that's not a yellow source, and then just getting those effects off of the TKs and Karis, which now puts your opponent on a clock because every turn you're starting at 5, right? Very strong combo, very powerful tamers. And then we have Zoe. Zoe is crazy, right? Not being color restricted and basically doing the same thing that TK does gives decks that in the past weren't allowed to have access to their security now have access to security, which is a very strong mechanic because the only things that we don't know in this card game is what we put into the security in the first place. So if your deck now has access to that information, you can play around it a little bit better. So oftentimes my opponents will see, oh, he's not clearing the board, he must not have the out. No, I have the out in security. I'm just going to wait for you to trigger it and then kill you on the crackback. So it's very interesting what this card allows you to do and what it allows other decks to do. And then here we have the rest of the hybrids. I put Kazim on it too. Obviously, that's subjective preference of mine. I think that JetSilphymon just offers more. The fact that she gives your security 3K as a lingering effect, people don't play around it ever. When she's coupled with Zoe, your security now has 6K, which is kind of impressive. Your Bokomon is now 8K, deleting up to level 5s in the game as a rookie. All the cards in your deck now become minimum 8K. He's the weakest one, so you're basically taking out level 5s with your rookies. This is a weird mechanic that yellow naturally has, but I think it's very, very powerful. And obviously, JetSilphymon, recover, 1 cost. She does it all. She's one of the best level 5s in the game. So I'm going to do a couple honorable mentions, and then I'm going to go talk to you about the choices I made for my deck, which I don't think is exactly perfect, but it's where I'm at this point. So first of all, if you want to go mono yellow and you want to just play only yellow cards, you want to play Shine Greymon, do everything cool, we have access to this Patamon. This Patamon is an excellent card. Let me get this out of the way for you guys. This Patamon is an excellent card because although it reveals the top 4 as opposed to other cards in the future, now that we look at the top 5, this Patamon adds all tamers that he reveals. So it's a very powerful card, specifically in the mono yellow deck, as it'll give you access to maybe 2 or 3 tamers that then you can put down with like Rise Greymons. Very powerful card. It's a rookie. You can play it in your breeding area. You obviously, if you're playing mono yellow, you have Salamon and you have Bushis and you have all these other cards you have access to, which are fantastic. Starmon, let's not forget him. So definitely one of the drawing points of playing mono yellow. Again, with the fact that we play yellow hybrids, Wyvern's Breath is an amazing removal card. Although we have access to the new purple, delete in a wide variety. We have Shine Greymon. We have just so many options. At the end of the day, this is a powerful, powerful card because it deletes by game mechanic and it bypasses the not can't be deleted, effects that some Digimons have. Also, since we're recovering from the security constantly with JetSilphymon, removing from security, we're taking the Digimons out and we're leaving the good stuff, meaning that our security becomes extremely powerful, extremely, difficult to deal with, and obviously it's very good to lean on these cards. So I think because of that, Wyvern's Breath is an excellent choice. Let's also not forget that Seraphimon is a great card. If you want to go for a more security control aspect of a type of deck, Seraphimon's excellent. He gets on top of your Digimons, recovers one, and then he's going sideways every turn. And if he dies, who cares? You recover one anyways, which is the game plan. At the end of the day, we're just pushing, 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 and this is one of those cards that security control likes to play, similar to Seraphimon from BT1, the +1 security guy, which also is very good to consider. A couple more honorable mentions. We have Mastermon. Mastermon is a very, very powerful, just synergizes with yellow so well, removing their security as we have the gaining mechanic, they don't have the gaining mechanic, and we're bypassing maybe any sort of effects such as Gaia Force, Wyvern's Breath, Ultimate Flare that might be in security. She bypasses them, also puts a rookie on board. Just a generally very powerful card that should be mentioned while we're talking about creating this deck. Dynasmon. Dynasmon was a terror in Yellow Hybrid, and it did so much for the deck in the OCG format, mostly because of the fact that we had access to Mega Digimon Fusion as well as Susanomon. The idea was this card would trigger, grab us 2 hybrids, and if we put more hybrids in the graveyard, we didn't really care because at the end of the day, we were going to Mega Digimon Fusion, put them back, and hit you with Susanomon, and you were just going to die. Unfortunately, fortunately, we don't have access to those mechanics, so we don't have to deal with them at all. So Dynasmon doesn't become as good, but Dynasmon becomes specifically good into the next package that I'm going to talk about in honorable mentions, the red package. What does red give us? Well, red gives us a way that we can play Emperor Greymon, who summons from trash, and gives us access to powerful, powerful red options such as Atomic Blaster, Atomic Inferno, and Trident Revolver to play our Tamers. Generally, a very strong package, as well as the Rise Greymon, as we put the Zephyrs on top, could almost sometimes trigger twice. I don't know if this might be the way of the future, but I definitely think this is a very strong deck that we have to consider when we think about yellow hybrids. And the fact that we play all of these discard effects into the trash is because Emperor Greymon allows us to play in that aggressive manner, as well as we can also play Susanomon, fueling that for the future. So definitely something to consider when building yellow hybrid. Now, getting to my choices specifically, I went for a little weird option. I went and tried to maximize on the cheapest tamer. I used to think this was bad TK. This TK is insane. Zephyrmon plus Zoe, 6k to security. 1 TK, 8k to security. 2 TKs, 12k, and so on and so forth. You kind of see the idea where I'm going with. Since I'm playing a more of a yellow base, I also added the good TK. But this guy, very, very cheap, very, very powerful, and people really aren't expecting your security to be so, so strong. Now, since I'm playing more of a yellow hybrid, I did maximize on my level 4s because I'm not going up any ladder on the side with my egg. So I chose to go 4-4-4 on all hybrids because I'm playing a ton of tamers. I think my count is just under 16. It is 15 total tamers, so definitely very powerful, especially with Bokomon in the deck. I'm also playing the Rise Greymon, as it does add a security +1 to my attacks over time. It definitely helps the deck where it struggles, which is closing out the game. Playing a tamer for free, just honestly a generally good card in this deck. Very, very powerful. But when I couple my Rise Greymon, I got to show you the Shine Greymon. Now, the main reason that I'm playing Shine is because, honestly, I miss playing him. I love the guy. Just look at him. But if we're being serious, I'm not sure that he offers the best possible effects for level 6. In this deck, you have so much space, and there's so many good level 6s that I don't think one has all the merits that we maximize. But you can kind of play like packages of like maybe 2 Shines as an out sometimes, Dynasmons, Mastermons. It's really hard, but it's also hard for me as a deck builder to start going 1-1-1. That just doesn't feel right. So I wanted to test out Shine, and he's been performing excellently. He definitely is what I'm missing with my deck, which is killing the tower as I'm not playing Wyvern's Breath. But I am allowed to kill it with Shine, and then my purple option takes care of the side. So definitely a very strong card. I'm not sure if he's the best option, but he's the best option in my heart. So we'll move on to the spicier portion of my deck. So as I was saying, we do gain a lot of DP. And what happens when we gain a lot of DP? These security Digimons become crazy. These cards are very, very powerful, but the reason people didn't used to play them was because they had very little impact. You would check them in security and they just come out, and honestly just coming out is kind of crazy, right? Because now we have a body to account for, and if you weren't killing me that turn, now you have to account for one more check coming out of me. But now this body is almost certainly killing your Digimon, because with plus 8k, my Corgimon is 13,000, and unless you're Jessmon or a humongous Lord Nightmon, my Corgimon's going to slap you down, draw me 2 cards, or my Geogray's going to kill your guy and kill a rookie. Like, these cards become insanely powerful, and the fact that we now have access to Tactical Retreat to just make sure to put them right back, make sure that my opponent has to play a little bit more cautiously when they're dealing with my security, and again, more time, more favorable for matchup for us. So then we'll go into our last bit of the deck, which is the rookie, the egg, and the spell that accompanies it. I decided to go for a purple package as it allows me to play Gazimon. I believe Gazimon, if you guys know me, you know I love Gazimon. I think he's one of the best cards in the game because he's a purple card. The fact that he comes out for free in purple decks, but I'm not using him to his full power as a purple deck would. I'm using him mostly to choke other decks that rely on memory with Hammer Sparks, with their memory boost, with any sort of memory gaining effect. This guy kind of stops him. There's also merit to playing the guys that stop reduction of level, as those cards are very strong because all the level 5 hybrids reduce themselves down to 1, and if a player is being choked and can't reduce himself to 1, those cards become insanely powerful as they do pass the turn and have your opponent have to play in a special little way to take care of them. And because we play Gazimon, we get access to another fantastic German out Schwarzle. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It's just like Gewalt from the last set. An excellent piece of removal as it deals with our wide boards. We can sit back, play Tamer, sit back, play Tamer. People are thinking, oh, he's playing a Tamer. His deck isn't really doing it, but my deck is advancing the game state and doing that. I am eventually going to recover. I'm going to stabilize, and over time, I'm going to kill you. So it is a much slower deck than the other hybrid decks, but it definitely has a lot of power behind it. And in the right hands, it becomes insanely powerful. In my opinion, I think yellow is shouldn't have to be one of the strongest contenders in this set. It's something we definitely have to look out for. Obviously, I didn't mention the egg, but our egg would be Xiaomon. I'm only showing you 1, but you would have 5 just in case. You wanted to always flip 1 to make sure you have access to a purple source. But you can maximize this, and this could be literally anything you want. People, when they play the purple-yellow combo, they oftentimes talk about the Pierbon and other yellow cards as on top of a Demi-Mirror to kind of cycle through your deck to get to the options you want. And that's definitely something you guys can test, go do. But I've been enjoying this little more security control S type of deck, and it's had a lot of success for me. I really do enjoy it, but I think yellow is extremely versatile. I think this meta in general is extremely versatile, and it's going to be a while before we crack it. So if you guys got to this point in the video, thanks again for tuning in. Make sure to check us out on Thursdays as we have our Digimon tournaments live on Twitch, as well as check us out on Patreon for exclusive content and supporting us for whatever we do. And as always, guys, stay toppin'.